Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a new episode of the Sweet Baby Ray and Zorn Hub Show. I'm your happy co-host this week, Ray Burrows.
I am your other co-host, Andrew Zorn. I am here miserably, and I've been surviving.
What a beautiful week for non-New York fans. Well, outside of the football world.
Oh, yeah, but no one really cares about football world in New York.
Well, a lot to touch on baseball and football-wise this week.
Oh, yes.
And, I'm not going to be too cruel. It's an amendment. I'm a government major. I know it's an amendment for cruel and unusual punishment. But we'll get there. It's my show. I'll do what I want on my show.
It's our show, fuckhead.
Yeah, no. But I'm talking about in terms of the amendment. But we're moving on. I'm going to be nice today. We're going to talk about the Phillies. And you know what? Just to get you a little, get the juices flowing in your, sorry Yankee fan brain, I want you to talk about it. The Phillies beating the Padres to advance to the World Series. No one saw it coming, the 6th seed Phillies. Zorn, what do you have to say about this year's Philadelphia Phillies?
Well, I just want to say I'm very happy for them. I did call that they would win and advance to the CS. I did not predict they would go to the World Series.
Because you didn't think the Dodgers would lose to the Padres.
I think the Dodgers would lose to the Padres, and I did not see the Padres then losing to the Phillies. It didn't look probable. It didn't make sense. But I got to say the lineup is impeccable. I know the pitching, even though it's been better, it's still struggled, even in the playoffs.
Well, Wheeler pitched great, though.
Wheeler pitched great. But Harper winning, NLCS MVP. You were seeing, all sorts of life from Schwarber, Hoskins, Boone, Real Muto. This guy's playing well across the board, especially for batting-wise. And I really like I'm seeing from, pitching-wise from Nola, Gibson, and those guys. And, Syndergaard's playing up to par, I would say, for what we maybe expected. I'm just really happy for Philly fans. I can't, and this is a scary moment for the rest of the country because we have Philadelphia, who's an undefeated, team, the only undefeated team in the NFL right now, and their team is in the World Series. Philadelphia might be burned down by the end of February.
And the Sixers have expectations.
But we'll see if they do anything. I mean, there's always expectations. But we got two teams that are looking red hot in Philly. I don't know if someone said if the infrastructure in Philadelphia can handle this kind of celebrations that are going to occur.
Well, I will say this, kind of piggybacking off of that. This team embodies Philadelphia. The underdogs, the counted out, and, you have guys in this lineup. Now, the bullpen is shaky, and we'll get there. The bullpen is shaky.
Sir Anthony Dominguez is the only reliable arm in that bullpen.
But the problem is you have guys like Wheeler who has that experience. You got guys like Nola who's a good pitcher. The starters have enough experience. But that lineup, which at times has been shaky, Segura had a big hit. Mm-hmm. Hoskins has been crushing the ball. Schwarber doing what he did all year, even though I have a problem because he doesn't hit for average.
Yes.
I don't mind if you don't hit for average, but there are times where he hasn't been clutch in his career. Mm-hmm. He had a good series. Real Muto doing Real Muto things. This is a tough lineup to face. Now, if I can just say this, though, the real story here, the real centerpiece is Bryce Harper.
Yes.
Because Bryce Harper, for years, I have been very hard on. I've been hard on him at times on this show about, how the maturity aspect, and I didn't believe in the maturity of him. That can be no longer. I think Bryce Harper came of age in this series. Hitting the home run that put him ahead for good. Hitting the home run that basically was a shot heard around Philadelphia. It basically was the home run that made that contract all of a sudden seem better. And it seemed better each minute that passed by. That team embodies Philadelphia. Harper embodies Philadelphia right now because they party hard. They do what they take care of business, but then they party hard.
They party hard.
And, it's a beautiful thing to watch. And I think it's going to be from an entertainment factor. I'm not sure how good the games are going to be, but it's going to be an entertaining World Series. And up here where it's kind of verging in three different directions, Philly country, New York country, and Pittsburgh country, I know the Philly fans are partying hard about this.
Well, I love the fact that this team parties like they won the World Series just for an NLCS.
Well, it's because everyone, including myself, counted this team out.
They counted them out. But I will say this, and I told this to you earlier, after the conclusion of the series with them in San Diego, the Harper deal looks better and better as the days go on.
It does.
And it's one of the few super contracts where I can confidently say during the overwhelming majority of the contract, it's 100% worth it. And Harper, I know the Phillies got a lot of hate for giving him that contract. I remember when it first came out. I'm very happy for Bryce Harper, considering that he's been hated at points. He has been looked down on as he's just
by me
overrated
on our show. I've been very critical of him at times,
and he hasn't in the goal. He is marketing the market. I think it's well deserved, all the attention he's received. And when he first came to Philly, there was a lot of backlash. They were very tough on him, and he's embodied it. He hasn't done a Russell Westbrook of what was me? Hey, the city hates me. He's taken on as a challenge, and for a player. I love when they do that. I love when a guy accepts the culture, even brings his own stuff to it, but really embodies it. It makes the city, his own. And that's what we see with Harper. That's why Philly fans now adore him to death. He's their guy. And I think this team, when they go against Houston, it's going to be tough. I would say no guarantees what's going to happen, but do they have a shot? They have a shot. They have to be perfect though batting, and that bullpen has to hold up. It doesn't have to do anything crazy or amazing. It just has to hold up.
Well, I think we covered the Phillies enough, and we're going to move on to the New York Yankees. Now, I'm going to take the reins first because I'm a nice guy, and because I think we all know what I'm going to say because I said it.
Well, nice guys finish last, but go ahead.
Because let's be honest, I don't think you're going to disagree with a lot I'm going to say today. Like I said last week, what has been the main story of Aaron Boone's tenure? So Girardi gets fired in 2017, later found out about sign stealing. So sign stealing didn't even occur under Aaron Boone. Aaron Boone then proceeds to lose to the Astros 2 more times in the playoffs. And this was a year where, the Yankees were indisputably for 4 months the best team in baseball. Indisputably for 4 months. And now everyone just assumed because of the collapse that happened at the end of the year. Yeah, you put a Zin in. Because of the collapse that happened at the end of the year, we all assumed that, the Astros were going to win. But it goes deeper than that. Even if you think the Astros were the better team, and I do think they're the better team, Aaron Boone still needs to be fired. And I'm stunned as of noon today on Wednesday, October 26th, that Aaron Boone still has a job. The reason for that is if George Steinbrenner was here and he was running the team like how he used to run the team, Aaron Boone would have been gone 2 years ago. But the real crime here, and this is what no one talks about, this is the narrative no one talks about. They signed after the 2018 season Garrett Cole, the Astros' second best pitcher after Verlander, but would be a number one on probably 28 other teams. And then they lose the Astros that year. And then they lose to them this year. And not only that, the decisions he made with the bullpen, not in Game 3 of a must-win down 2-0 to Houston, not bringing in his best reliever to replace Cole, or trusting Cole, who's making $36 million to stay in and finish an inning. I mean, he's made terrible moves all offseason, but like I mentioned last week, the Clark Schmidt thing, the miscommunications with guys like Clay Holmes not knowing he was available because not knowing he wasn't available like Aaron Boone said. Aaron Boone kind of throwing him under the bus. Harrison Bader not knowing he's batting leadoff because Aaron Boone has been terrible at constructing a lineup at a consistent rate. You look at the Astros, Altuve did not hit at all until the last game of this series for the whole postseason. There was never any conversation about moving him out of the leadoff spot. You know why? It's consistency, because you want your players to feel confident in the players behind them. And when you're a team like the Astros, you can do that. Beyond that, when you take a look at Aaron Boone's 5 years, it's unprecedented in Yankee history he still has a job. It's unprecedented. And look, if you do this and have this 5-year stretch on a team like, if you do this for the Pittsburgh Pirates and you make a couple playoff and make a couple of CSs, you're a career manager there. But you're the New York Yankees. You're 27 titles. This is the second longest stretch since 1920 without a World Series title, and that being during the Don Mattingly era. However, Don Mattingly era at least had, some more flair to it. You know what I mean? There was better teams in the American League, but the Astros are to the Yankees what Michael Jordan was to the New York Knicks. That's what he was. So Aaron Boone is not the guy. And look, you need to take a look at Cashman too. The reason for that is Aaron Boone was brought in, and I'm not saying fire Cashman. Cashman's a good GM, but what I'm saying is Cashman deserves some blame, not all of it, because Aaron Boone makes. But what I'm saying is Aaron Boone's doing what the front office is telling him to do. Aaron Boone, they fired Girardi or got rid of Girardi because Girardi was a guy who made his own decisions. And Cashman didn't like that because he sees all these guys like Terry Francona and Dave Roberts I'm sorry, not Terry Francona. You have guys like A.J. Hinch and Dave Roberts who are being told by the front office what they're doing, and they go out and do it. You think Terry Francona does that? Buck Showalter? No. So I think when you're at the Yankees and you can't beat this Astros team, it's more gut feeling than what it tells you. So Aaron Boone deserves to be fired. I don't think there's any way to look at it, him coming back next year. And the fact that he doesn't is ridiculous. There's managers out there that I think you can go get that would be better. I honestly think I know his managing career has been up and down. Don Mattingly's a better manager than Aaron Boone. I think Joe Madden's a better manager than Aaron Boone. If you wanted to bring back Girardi, it's not going to happen. Girardi's better than Boone. There's a lot of lanes they could go here. If they wanted to go out and get a guy like Lloyd McClendon, I think he's better than Boone. So with that being said, I think you need to fire Aaron Boone because to get swept in a series that I said last week that you needed to win, and now it's confirmed. I don't want to hear about sign stealing anymore. I don't want to hear about it anymore. And with that, I'm going to pass it off to you, Andrew. The floor is yours.
The floor is mine. Let me clear my throat for this one. I'm not going to talk about Aaron Judge. I know he batted 140 in the playoffs, and I'm not too mad about that. But I'm not going to talk about Judge. I'm not going to talk about Cashman. I'm not going to talk about the Frankie Montas trade. What I am going to talk about is the fact that our best offensive player during the entirety of the postseason was Harrison Bader.
By far.
A guy you didn't play during the regular season had 5 home runs.
In 6 games.
In 6 games. Damn it. And let's be honest here. I know you think Cashman holds some responsibility. Yeah, a little bit. But I don't see Cashman in the dugout during games. I don't see Cashman assembling the roster he had and being, okay, let me go make a lineup. Let me go make a rotation. Let me call those guys in. Not to mention that your freaking closer decides to be playing patty cake during the playoffs, not wanting to show up in Miami. We all know what happens in Miami. It doesn't just stay in Miami, for those of you who wonder. So I'm calling out Aaron Boone. You've had ample time and opportunities and the ability with the players you had on that roster to win a World Series by now. And I didn't want to go here. I began the season out, but Boone's got to prove it. I said he makes a World Series, I'm fine. Damn it. Why was the best aspect of your roster the pitching, which wasn't even that good? You couldn't do anything with a lineup that had offensive firepower all year. And what you do, our pitching's looking good. Damn it, there's nothing else to look at. This lineup blew. What was it, 15 strikeouts in the first 2 games?
30.
Sorry, 15 each. 30 in the first 2 games. And Judge is batting 140. He gets no help.
They struck out 50 times through the series.
I'm done with Boone. Get his ass out of there. Fire the man today. Call him in the office. It was a pleasure having you around. I'm sick of your ass. Bah! But no, we're gonna give him a show. Let's run it back without Aaron Judge, because there's no way they can sign him now. Oh, they gave him a 7-year, $213 million. He turned it down. Oh no, he'll be fine. We can get him back. He's gonna get more. And I'm done. I'm done with Boone. As a Yankees fan, I have no more sympathy for the Yankees fans. You know why? Because we put ourselves in this situation. We trusted Boone. We had faith. We thought he was going to be loyal to the cause. We knew we had trust issues and commitment issues. But he's like, you know what? They didn't get Judge re-signed, but we're going to win a World Series, so it's fine. And the Houston Astros, I predicted them to beat you, but you couldn't get a game? You couldn't get a game. A damn game. I'm not talking about, one game. I'm fine with one. 4-game sweep against the team which was in May, June, and July, by far the best team in baseball. I'm sick of it. I'm done. If I am Cashman, if I am ownership, I am calling Aaron Boone into the office.
Sit down and you want a whiskey, you want some coffee, we got some Jack Daniels over here, Proper 12. What are we pouring? That's your last fucking drink. Go! Bye! You're done.
You pulled a Sopranos on them, huh?
Get the hell out of here. You got 2 hours to clean your desk out. Bye. That's it. I'm done. I am done. And the fact that Ray had to humiliate me when they lost. Just playing New York. Oh, yeah, New York, stand up, Andrew. Shut the hell up.
You know, Frank Sinatra's beautiful.
Be quiet.
It's beautiful to listen to this time of year. Can I just say this? Are you?
I'm done. You have the floor. I'm done.
What I'm saying is, I don't want to, because it seems like you think that I'm not blaming Boone. I am. Boone holds 90% of the responsibility. Do you want to know why Cashman holds 10?
Is he higher, Boone?
No. Well, yes, that's partially, but that's not it. You want to hear why else?
Because of the trades?
I don't really blame him for that either. I blame Cashman because why did they hire Aaron Boone in the first place? Because Joe Girardi, we both agreed last week, that was the best manager job he ever did his last year. He wanted somebody who would listen to the analytics because Girardi was not into the analytics. And that's where baseball is headed. So what I've heard is, and that has influenced a lot of decisions that Aaron Boone makes. Aaron Boone does not have the power that like a first-year manager like Buck Showalter has in the Mets dugout. What I'm saying, too, is Cashman I blame for these 2 reasons. Number one, I blame Cashman for Aaron Boone still having a job. Can you at least admit that?
Yes.
That's partially Cashman's fault.
Yeah.
But I also blame Cashman for not getting a deal done with Aaron Judge before the season. I partially blame him for that because I'm going to be honest, Judge's comments after the game were not encouraging.
I saw a news report recently that the Dodgers are interested in Judge and Mookie Betts might move to the infield.
What is he going to move to? I heard short if Trey Turner leaves?
Short if Trey Turner leaves. I'm disgusted. I am thoroughly disgusted by that. And we're talking about analytics. Let's bring up analytics. If you're an analytical manager, you should be coaching for me like the White Sox, maybe, Seattle, Oakland. Well, you ain't coaching for the damn Yankees. You know why? It's New York. You want New York is? It's tough. We need some tough-ass coaches, and Boone's a fucking pushover.
But that's the problem. That's why I'm blaming Cashman. The thing is with Cashman, right? I think you'd agree with this. If you want a manager who's going to take your analytics, because these are Cashman's analytics. The problem is the analytics of managing a game is different than the analytics of getting players. So you need a manager who's going to come in there. Like, for instance, if they would have fired Boone last year, you think Buck Showalter wouldn't have pushed a series of 6 games? You think Buck Showalter wouldn't have gotten this team to play hard for him? This team gave up on Boone.
Buck Showalter would have been a fantastic hire. Would have been beautiful.
But what I'm saying is you need a guy, whoever Cashman needs to hire, because let's be honest, if Cashman hires somebody in the same mold as Boone, right? I've heard Jorge Posada's name being brought up. I've heard Carlos Beltran's name being brought up. If he hires someone in the same vein as Aaron Boone and 3 years go by and they're a mess, Cashman should go too. That's what I'm saying.
I agree with that.
I'm not saying fire Cashman now. It's not what I'm saying. He has too much pedigree in it, and if they fired him, he'd have a job at sundown. What I'm saying is I think that Brian Cashman needs to hold little. I'm not saying full. You understand what I'm saying? Oh, yeah. Little. Because of, let's be honest, the roster has holes. And I've heard some delusional Yankee fans saying that Benintendi's the reason why they lost. Didn't Harrison Bader he played great in the postseason for Benintendi? It's always an excuse with Aaron Boone. It's always an excuse with the lineup. Like, remember, Game 2, the wind in Minute Maid Park really made a difference because the analytics say the exit velocity, and Luis Severino saying the exit velocity 91. That's not, they got lucky. They beat your ass 4-0. Stop telling me they got lucky, because next thing you know, they're going to talk about sign stealing.
I'm done with the sign stealing. I'm done with Boone. I'm heartbroken over Judge. This ain't good. New York, this ain't good. I'm going to put out a DEFCON 5 on New York right now because we are not in a good spot.
Sorry, I want to make one point before I move on.
Go ahead.
What's important to note, too, is Dusty Baker's always been known as a player's manager, but a awful game manager. And let's be honest, in this series, he outmanaged Boone. Now, I'm blaming Boone.
That's not hard to do.
But I'm blaming Boone because of the in-game decisions. Because I think, analytics look fine in the regular season. But you get to the playoffs. That's why these teams like the Athletics and the Rays, who are so analytically driven, can't win World Series. They can get there if they have good enough players, but the problem is it comes down to gut decisions and moves to make. If you go analytic like it is a playbook, like a play sheet, first play we're going to run. No, you can't do that. You can't script a baseball game. So the problem is you have to do things that are just so gut-driven that, you either take it on the chin or you look like a genius.
Rumor has it if they sign Judge, they will overtake the Dodgers for the highest payroll.
Well, they will.
The problem is Dodgers have highest payroll in baseball because you got guys. Our payroll's tied into guys like Hicks, guys like Severino, who's fine, but he's not worth the money he got. Guys like Stanton, who's past his prime, and I still love the death, but he ain't doing the numbers that he should be getting paid for.
That's because of health, though.
Garrett Cole. And let's be honest. You bring back Judge, the same shit, different day. We are in trouble. There's no good way to put it. I'm very heartbroken right now. New York, you have ripped my heart out.
I will say this.
Frank Sinatra will be retired until March.
No, I love
April,
playing Frank Sinatra this time of year.
next year. No, you ain't playing shit. When Christmas comes around and the Christmas playlists come out, I don't want to hear any Frank Sinatra. I don't want to hear any classic New York songs. It is a season of mourning for us. I'm done.
Can I make one
I'm
point?
done now, and I'm moving on.
Can I make one point?
Go ahead, I'm moving on.
But I just want to ask you this. The moves that you just made, right? The moves you just made, like said that Cashman's made. Because let's be honest, Cashman's been there for almost 30 years.
Yes.
Don't you think that Cashman should be blamed for some of these bad contracts? That's why I'm saying he's at least 10% involved. Because now it's hampering. If they didn't have some of these bad contracts, they would have signed Judge in the offseason.
Yes and no. When the signings were made, they were good signings. Problem is, you haven't had player development from Boone. You haven't. Guys are stagnant. The only guy who's developed, truly, is Judge. And Jordan Montgomery, who you traded, in my opinion.
That trade looks a little better now with how Bader played.
It does. But when you're giving guys deals, it's based off of what they've done in the past and what they're going to do for you in the future. When your fucking manager ain't doing shit to progress them in the future, how can you be blamed for the bad contracts?
You can be blamed for the bad contracts for the length and how it hurts. I'm not saying with the development aspect, because guys like Cole, you don't need to develop. You need to keep his ass on the hump. What I'm saying is if we find out these let's be honest. If Brian Cashman fires Boone, which I don't think they're going to do, even though Aaron Boone should have his ass fired. He should be going down to the Bronx unemployment office today.
No, he doesn't. He can go somewhere else.
But
He can go to Jersey.
But I'm saying if he goes out and gets another Cashman guy, not an established manager like Girardi was or Torrey was, you go out and get a guy like a Jorge Posada, right? Mm-hmm. And they suck in 3 years, it makes Aaron Boone look better. You can't say it doesn't, because then I'm going to say, oh, the analytics really were playing a big deal. And if that's the case, Aaron Boone's done a good job not throwing anybody under the bus, except his own players at times. And that's what part of the reason he's fired. What I'm saying is Cashman, I think, if we find out in 3 years, that is about, 18 years since they won a World Series? Mm-hmm. 17 years since they won a World Series? Mm-hmm. I don't want to hear about it anymore. I think Cashman, at that point, the game passes you by.
Fair point.
Let's move on let's talk.
I'm heartbroken. I'm furious.
What do you think who wins this World Series and how many games does it go to?
6 games against Astros.
You see, I have the same thing.
I love Philly. I'm not a Philly fan of any sorts. I hate the Flyers. I respect the Eagles. Phillies fans can be a little obnoxious at times, but I do like to see when they do well. But I just don't think they can out-hit this pitching staff. I don't.
I agree. Well, big story in the NFL. It broke yesterday. Sorry, Monday, I believe.
Monday, yes.
Matt Ryan, who suffered a shoulder injury but was expected to play this week, has been benched for the second-year player, former sixth-round pick in 2021, Sam Ehlinger out of Texas. News broke, Frank Reich saying that the team at 3-3-1, this is the best move for the team and the franchise going forward. Sam will be ready. Sam will make us plays to win. Andrew, how do you feel about Matt Ryan getting benched?
Well, if you look at my phone, I'm looking at retirement homes near us. And I'm currently doing a search. So, Matt, if you want to hit me up, I would be no problem being a manager, facilitating
looks like there's several openings in local retirement homes near us where you can go home, relax. You know, they can bring you some dessert, some dinner, and you can have a nice rest of your life. On the couch talking about your glory days and back in your day. Because you suck. You're horrible. And I've been talking about the Colts, carousel of quarterbacks for a bit now.
I talked about that first. Let's get that out of the way. That was my big rant in week 2. Revolving door of has-beens.
Yeah, but who facilitated it? Me. So let's not do this right now. I'm already irate.
You're blaming Matt Ryan.
I'm blaming Matt Ryan. You have, I know it's not truly 20. It's more like 14 or 15 turnovers. 5 recovered fumbles, I believe. 11 or 9 something with 9 receptions, 11 fumbles. 5 of those fumbles recovered. You suck. Yeah, I can't say it anymore. You suck. Now. I'm sorry that you didn't get the win against the Patriots. Whenever I see the picture of 28-3, I laugh a little and chuckle inside.
Once again, that was not Matt Ryan's fault.
It wasn't your fault, but you could have closed the game. You didn't. This is good. This is good for the Colts for 2 aspects. It helps my Jaguars, who are sucking right now. And then 2, it also means, hey, we got to get a fresh young face in there. We got to get someone to reinvigorate this team. Because the problem we're having right now is the fact that we can't win games with an old quarterback who is being sacked, I think, tied for the most in the league with 24 sacks, with a line that's historically been good, top 5 always. And I don't think it's the line. I don't think they trust Matt Ryan. I don't think they believe in Matt Ryan, and it's time to go. This offense has firepower. This offense has potential. I don't want excuses for Matt Ryan are done. 11 fumbles? Come on, man. Secure the bag. Like, how many, this is like, you got the broad, Matt. You got the broad. You flirted with her. The game was good. And then you just drop it repeatedly. Oh, I didn't call her fat. Oh, no, I didn't tell her she wasn't pretty without makeup. No. Shut up, Matt. Get benched. Be quiet. Sit down and enjoy your spot. Go ahead, Ray.
I think that I'm going to be nicer to Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan has struggled this year. What I will say to Matt Ryan is you have a reason today to be mad at the Colts organization. The reason for that is let's be honest, Michael Pittman missed a game. Okay, Jonathan Taylor missed 2.5 games. Your best linebacker and defensive leader, Shaq Leonard, Darius Leonard, whatever the hell he wants to be called by these days,
Darius Leonard,
has missed, 5 games this year?
5 games.
This is a move by Frank Reich and Chris Ballard that has been made several times. It is a move that has been made over the course of their 5 years in Indy together. It is when stuff doesn't go well and shit hits the fan, we're going to throw our quarterback to the wolves. Now, to be fair, Matt Ryan has not played well. He has fumbled a lot. Matt Ryan has been hit the 3rd most out of any quarterback this year.
We agree.
Now, let's be honest here. They're 3-1, still in play in that division. Still very much in play. Matt Ryan, had a really good game last week. Played really well football. Not this week against Tennessee, the week before. Played really good football against your Jacksonville Jaguars. Led them down the field for a 2-point conversion and a victory.
Broke my heart.
But let's be honest, though. That was a quintessential Matt Ryan drive.
Yes.
Without Jonathan Taylor, mind you.
Mm-hmm.
This is a disgraceful move for the Indianapolis Colts. The reason for that is if you would have turned to Nick Foles here, I get it. Nick Foles has experience leading teams like this, and you think maybe Foles could be the starter next year too because he's younger than Matt Ryan. I would agree completely. The problem I'm having is Sam Ehlinger, who might be good. I don't want to sound like I'm throwing him under the bus. But you drafted him last year in the 6th round, and you guys traded your 3rd-round pick that became a 1st-round pick. You traded your 3rd-round pick that became a 1st-round pick to get Carson Wentz. And then you throw Carson Wentz under the bus. You played him enough so the Washington clown shows or whatever they want to be called are now, got a 1st-round pick out of it. Sam Ehlinger then is still in that roster, by the way. You know what I mean? And everyone acted like Wentz played so bad. They don't turn to Ehlinger there. You go out and trade a 3rd-rounder that could become a 2nd-rounder to get Matt Ryan. This is a move to save a draft pick Because if it was a move to see what you got in Sam Erlinger, you would start him this year and rode it out with the weapons they have and Jonathan Taylor. Instead, you decided to go get a late 30-something quarterback in Matt Ryan. And look, let's be honest here. I don't think Matt Ryan's a Hall of Famer. I think Matt Ryan's been extremely unlucky at points in his career. Matt Ryan did deserve a better ending than this. And Andrew, I think you would agree with that. If this is the end for Matt Ryan,
No.
Well, hear me out though. Matt Ryan deserved the Phillip Rivers ending Phillip Rivers got. Matt Ryan had a more influential career with less than Phillip Rivers did. I know Julio Jones was there, but he never had LaDainian Tomlinson. He never had Antonio Gates. Yeah, I know he had the end of Tony Gonzalez, but he never had the number one defense in football like Rivers did twice.
Fair point.
He never had a Marty Schottenheimer as a head coach. He never went 14-2. You know what I mean? Like Phillip Rivers, who is not a Hall of Famer either. I know a lot of people say he was. I would rather have Matt Ryan in a big game than Phillip Rivers.
I can see that.
What I'm saying is this is really sad, and I really wish that Matt Ryan would have stayed in Atlanta this year.
Played it out
And called it a day. And I think that for Frank Reich and Chris Ballard, if this blows up, they both should be fired. If they lose 3 in a row, I wouldn't even hesitate. If I'm Jim Irsay, like I said, you have 60 seconds, one of the early episodes of the show, Frank Reich would be out the door, and Chris Ballard would be out the door with him. And you start over. You keep, because you have the pieces in place that if you get an experienced coach and GM in there, Indy could be scary. The problem is they're not being, because instead of taking time, they're doing this soft rebuild. The soft rebuild where you don't want to completely blow the team up. So you're just revolving quarterbacks. And now if Sam Erlinger doesn't work, what's the excuse?
I think it's time for Frank Reich to go. Even after the quarterback change, it's a sign of desperation. There's blood everywhere. It's as simple as that. I get what you're saying about Matt Wright deserving a nice little, ride out into the sunset.
If he was 0-6, I would understand it more.
0-6. I don't like the Colts to begin with, and you don't like them to begin with. I don't hate them with passionately like I do with the Steelers or the Patriots or Cowboys fans. But you know what? This is a great move, because moving is a historical thing for the Colts.
But I think you would agree with my point. If it was Nick Foles instead of Sam Erlinger, it'd make more sense.
I think they should just put, Matt Ryan right in the pickup truck and send him right to the retirement home, just like they did with the Ravens and shipping out of Baltimore.
Not funny.
And then there's a moving on right now.
No, but right now. What I'm saying is Frank Reich has basically given all these quarterbacks terrible endings. Andrew Luck, now Matt Ryan. And look, I'm not saying Matt Ryan deserves the fairy tale ending. I'm saying Matt Ryan, who is the consummate professional, he always deals with himself with class.
Yes.
You're going to bench him for a hothead. Because remember, Sam Erlinger, it's always been about he has talent that he wants to waste. Remember, that was the big thing that Mel Kiper said. He makes bad decisions. If this was Nick Foles and you want the team to rally around Nick Foles, I actually have no problem with this move. The problem is you're overseeing. Sam Erlinger has not been active for a game since week 12 last year.
I agree. And I like Erlinger. He's talented, a lot of talent, but yeah, he's not there decision-wise, especially
or maturity-wise.
Maturity-wise, you're going to see him rely a lot on the run game, but then when he wants to throw, he's not making the right reads. RPO-wise, I would never trust this guy at all. I wouldn't trust this guy with 10 of my dollars to invest into the stock market.
But I would rather have Matt Ryan.
With that said, the talent's there. But the problem is you don't have the coaching staff there to do it. And I want to go back to Andrew Luck. This is heartbreaking for Colts fans because Luck was the guy. And Frank Reich did too little too late to re-up that O-line to make it to where they were competent and then eventually became good enough that's why Luck got out early.
That's not why Luck left. I have a story why Luck left.
Luck left because he was too injured.
Luck left because he got addicted to painkillers from the word around the water cooler. And his wife was going to leave him and the baby was on the way. And I think he was going to retire and come back in a year or two. And he couldn't. I think that's what I've heard why Luck retires. And that is why it makes more sense. The Colts O-line in 2016 was the number 8 offensive line in football. Yes. They weren't as bad as they were in previous years. He did take a beating in 2016 and 2017. But that being said, I just think that if Sam Erlinger, if they thought he was really that talented, Andrew, they wouldn't have went and spent those draft picks to get those 2 quarterbacks.
I agree. And it's a shame now, but is what it is. And now they can suffer. And hopefully if my Jags become competent, which I don't know if that'll ever happen in my lifetime, we can see them maybe do something. So, Ray, I think we should move on to the CMC trade to the Niners from Carolina. Carolina just gifting one of the best running backs in football to a team that, is a couple pieces away, I think. Mainly at quarterback, but we'll see what happens. But CMC to a team which historically has been a dynamic running offense, how does this change the outlook for the playoff hopes for the 49ers? Are they more of a contender now? Does this do much? How does this help with Carolina with kind of going into a rebuild mode?
I will say this. CMC, if he stays healthy, it's a steal for the 49ers, but it's not a bad get for the Panthers. Very rarely these days do you see running backs traded for first-round picks, especially one with the injury concerns that CMC has, especially with ones with the offense that Carolina's run before this season has helped CMC. So I think what's important to know is from a fantasy perspective, it might help because CMC is going to get more goal line opportunities. But that being said, they're still going to run a committee. Jeff Wilson's still going to get 5-6 touches a game. And there's a lot of mouths to feed in that offense. You got George Kittle, you got Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk's really coming along. I think this move is for the next 2 years. Yeah. It's not for this year. Because Jimmy G's there. Jimmy G doesn't use running backs in the passing game that much. I think this is a move to help Trey Lance kind of change his game since this injury and help him with checkdowns, help him with screens. So I think this trade could be good long-term for the Niners if he stays healthy. And I think it's a big deal because the Carolina Panthers getting all these picks for him, I believe it was 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 6th.
Yes.
It's a good get. It's a good haul.
Good haul.
And I think Carolina, you're going to have a new coach, possibly a new general manager. They haven't announced general manager thing yet. The owner just bought the team within the last 4 years. It's time to tear it down. If I'm them, I'm trading Brian Burns too. I'm trading DJ Moore. I'm getting on the phone, seeing what they want for my other pieces. And I'm going to build this team. I'm going to tank for, Bryce Young. I'm going to tank for, Will Anderson. I'm going to tank for whoever because I want this team to grow. And I want this team to grow the right way through the draft, acquiring picks. Making the right moves, hiring the right GM, the right coach. But I think overall, CMC, I think the trade's been a little overrated because I think everyone's like, oh my God, they fleeced the Panthers. No, it's just hard to get a first rounder for a running back that's been on IR for 2 years, especially one who's been a good player on a bad team. I'm not saying CMC's not good. I think he's the second best running back in football. But what I'm saying is the injuries, along with the offense he's going to play in, it's not going to make them Super Bowl contenders this year, especially with the defense playing a defense that I thought was the best, playing like it's played the last 3 weeks.
Not the most even trade I've ever seen, but a very even trade. For the Panthers, what they needed. They needed picks. They're rebuilding. Matt Rule's gone. Bye. Gone. Out of here. Don't want to see it anymore. Like that move, and I like the assets they got for McCaffrey. You got to realize, McCaffrey's got 2 years left in his deal. He ain't coming back. I don't think he would come back. And if he does come back, you're going to have to overpay for him. For a guy you don't get much productivity out of because of health concerns. But when he plays, he's dynamic. He's a game changer. For the Niners, for a team that has been struggling running the ball, who has historically been when they went to Super Bowl, it was Raheem Mostert leading the way to get them there, running the ball wise. I'm totally fine with this deal for both teams. You have Garoppolo, who's been there 2 weeks Super Bowl. You have the same guys, Deebo Samuel, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner. You got Brandon Ayuk there. Trent Williams is finally healthy, And you got offensive and defensive prowess all over the field. This does push them, if McCaffrey can assimilate to the offense in time, to a team that can see going to the divisional round. I don't see him winning Super Bowl this year. I think Trey Lance is still their guy. I'm very much still worried about Trey Lance because he has not played a full season in 3 years. But he's super talented, and I think with Garoppolo there, you have a steady helm at the ship. You can kind of ride this season out and at least have hopes of doing decent in the playoffs. Like I said, I think it's a very even trade. It works well for both teams, and I'm not really. I have no gripes about this trade. I like it. It's not bad for the league. I know Carolina, you want stars, kind of spaced out, not in just certain markets. And I know CMC going to California, to San Francisco. Yeah, it kind of takes away a big superstar from a smaller local market. I'm totally fine with it because this team needs to rebuild. This team needs to move on from we have a high-powered offense, we're just a quarterback away. Nah, Chief. That ain't it. I'm really just kind of done with the whole, we got Sam Darnold, we got Baker Mayfield, and now we got P.J. Walker. We got a three-headed quarterback system. No, you got to, and maybe, get a quarterback. Get a guy who's going to take you guys far. The last time this team drafted a high-round quarterback, Cam Newton, you saw, 6, 7 good years of play in Carolina with a good quarterback.
Carolina also, it's been its staple, and people don't want to admit this because they think of Cam Newton, they think of, D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart, and they think of Steve Smith Sr. That defense was the best in football for about 3 years.
It was.
And historically, they've had a good defense with Sam Mills, guys like Luke Kuechly, Julius Peppers, guys like Thomas Davis, Josh Norman. It's been they've had good defensive players. And I think they're trying to build the team differently now. And that's why the Matt Rule era failed.
Yes. High-powered offenses don't win championships.
I think from a 49er perspective, what they need to understand is the reason the 49ers are still in the race after losing to the Chiefs in McCaffrey's first game is because the NFC West has been disappointing. The NFC West has been, we talked about the AFC West last week, but the NFC West hasn't been much better. The Rams, who are Super Bowl champions, are 3-3 and struggled to win those 3 games.
Underperforming.
The only team that is the Seahawks, and I'm going to be honest, I know you like Jawline Geno. They're not going to play like that the rest of the year. You know what I mean? They're not going to.
They're not. His statistics aren't going to keep up. But will they have? Do they have a shot of winning the division? Absolutely.
Oh, but they don't have a shot to win a Super Bowl. Is what I'm saying.
No.
They don't have the talent to win a Super Bowl. The 49ers. The only reason we're even talking about the playoff contention is because of that.
Yes, and I love Jawline Geno.
Let's move on to Jawline Geno's former team. It's a question that our buddy Dom Veers wanted us to ask. I was at the game. The one I threw up and cried to at the, old Meadowlands Complex, MetLife Stadium in New York. Zorn, are the New York Giants legit?
Well, this is not Jawline Geno's former team. But
Yeah, it is. Remember he replaced Eli Manning.
Oh, he did. He was a Jet. He was a Jet. I want to give my props to the Jets for making him the amazing quarterback he is today.
Well, before we do that, Geno Smith, it's always been talent. He's always been talented.
Yes.
The big thing has been maturity
and leadership.
And not only that, and work ethic. And I think when he got to Seattle with Pete Carroll, and think about it. Think about the guys he sat behind Geno Smith. Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers, Russell Wilson. I know I've been hard on Russell Wilson. He's the worst of the 3. Mm-hmm. And the coaches he's played for, like Tom Coughlin, and then Ben McAdoo.
Pete Carroll.
And Pete Carroll, and then Rex Ryan. It's all about work ethic. Yeah. And I think he's developed that over the years, and we're seeing that now. But, Beck, do you think the Giants are legit? His former team. I know you disputed that, but it's his former team.
Can I make a quick comment? I want to go right to the Giants. If Jawline Geno learns anything from Russell Wilson, it's nothing about play. It's about how to find a beautiful woman.
Yes.
But the Giants
I agree.
Good are point. Not legit. I know we are all talking about the Giants. They're powerful. They're really making they're really looking like a different team. They've had an easy schedule. They've had a very easy schedule. And Daniel Jones, not that long ago, was being talked about as a quarterback who might soon find his way out of New York. And I still believe that if this team flops in any way. I got Steelers vibes when 11-0 Steelers were happening. And the Steelers are
totally different.
For different reasons.
Steelers had expectations, just not those high expectations.
But the momentum carrying them, they're a powerhouse team. No, they're not. Sterling Shepard, he's done for, I believe, year. You're struggling with receiver-wise now, weapons. Yeah, the reason this team is relevant is the defense has played lights out in Saquon Barkley. That's it. There is no other explanation. You got a running back who already has 726 yards through week 7, and it has 180 receiving yards, and a defense led by Xavier McKinney's come on, Adoree Jackson.
Dexter Lawrence has been the best player on that defense this year.
That line, I'm hoping Kayvon Thibodeau, we can start to see some signs of life soon.
Well, he played really well against my Ravens.
He did. Leonard Williams, you got a big D line. You got a strong, powerful front, I would say front 7. And the secondary is not far behind. This defense is what's keeping them in games. It's what's winning games. And on offense, it's a Saquon Barkley show. What worries me about this team is Saquon Barkley's health.
It has been a question since he's been in the league. It's been a question we've always been concerned with. Can he stay healthy? Because when he's healthy, he is dynamic. He really is. And Daniel Jones is not dynamic. Okay? The guy runs the ball more efficiently than he passes. And he's not a running quarterback. This ain't Lamar, who's always a threat on the ground. When Daniel Jones runs, I look the other way because it's just so awkward movements. It's not fun to watch.
Can I butt in now?
Go ahead.
I think it's very important to understand what the word legit is. For this season, the Giants are legit. Here's why. They have had an easy schedule, and it doesn't get any tougher. The Giants could end the year 13-4. Now, whether that means they're legit or not, it's not. But I will say this. You're missing one element. And you're correct in everything you said. But Brian Dable's a hell of a coach.
Brian Dable's.
They love him, dude. Every time they won the first game when they went for 2. Think about it. He's out coaching people in his first year as a head coach. They love playing for him. That's contagious. This is the first good hire they've had since Tom Coughlin. Look, QB's a liability. Daniel Jones is the best bad quarterback in the NFL.
Yes.
Because Daniel Jones is not incompetent like other bad quarterbacks. But the thing about Daniel Jones is that he's done this year, that's been a problem the rest of his career. He's not turning the ball over.
Yes.
Which, if he doesn't do it, they're golden. Because Daniel Jones, it's always been about accuracy. It's never been arm strength. He's got a heck of an arm.
Yes.
It's always been about it. His weapons have been hurt. If they can learn to throw the ball, and look, the Giants are winning ugly. That is what good teams do. Good teams find a way to win ugly. And their defense, coached by Don Wink Martindale, who, I'm going to segue this real quick into the Ravens topic. Mm-hmm. Don Wink Martindale is in his first year as defensive coordinator with the Giants, and the Giants defense doing a great job closing out games. The Ravens, who are 4-3 and could be 7-0, have done an awful job closing out games. They barely squeaked out a win against Cleveland. The defense doesn't know what it's doing at the end of the game. They're running, I think that Mike McDonald, the first-year defense coordinator, who coached John's brother Jim's defense at Michigan, has been laughably bad in his game plan. And I know a lot of people have called for John Harbaugh's head. John Harbaugh should not be fired because John Harbaugh is a leader of men. Throughout his 15 years with the Ravens, no coach has done a better job at delegating authority to his coordinators and trusting his coordinators. Mike McDonald took over from Martindale. Martindale got thrown under the bus last year for the Ravens. The Ravens had a defense their whole team was ravaged by injuries, so they were playing cornerbacks who are not even on the roster anymore. So they get rid of Martindale, and now he's leading this really good Giant defense. It's a disgrace what they did to Wink. I miss him. This McDonald guy's a clown. I could care less if he's gone at the end of the year. But I'm going to call for a guy's head right here, and it's going to be Greg Roman. Now, I've been very nice to this man. I've defended him. Andrew, have I not defended him through the years?
You have defended.
I've defended Greg Roman because I think he's a good offensive coordinator. His offensive game planning this weekend was god-awful. Look, I understand. If you want to go back to your running roots, I have no problem with it. My problem with it is Gus Edwards is having this heck of a game, and you keep trying to feed Kane Drake the ball. Mark Andrews has 2 targets, no catches. Your best offensive weapon, Mark Andrews. Lamar's best weapon has 2 targets, no catches. It's unacceptable. And then, in a big spot, you're driving to put the game away for good. You give Justice Hill his first or second carry of the day when he has 13 career carries and has a problem with fumbling. And, oh, no, he fumbled. So, Greg Roman, you have a couple weeks to get this offense together, or I'm going to call publicly for your head, writing articles for the Baltimore Sun to call for your head. But you do not fire John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh is a franchise coach. He's unarguably a top 5 head coach in the NFL, and he has been. The Ravens have had 2 losing seasons since they've had Harbaugh. One of them was when Joe Flacco tore his ACL. The season was done then.
Yes.
And one of them was when the whole team basically tore their ACL. Marcus Peters, Marlon Humphrey, Calais Campbell, Ronnie Stanley, Lamar Jackson, they all got hurt. So you can't blame Harbaugh for starting 8-3 and ended 8-9. They had the secondary is not on the roster now. So that being said, the Giants, I think, are legit, and they're going to be 12-5. And the Ravens can't fire John Harbaugh, but they need to keep him, but they should regret getting rid of Wink Martindale.
Put an APB out for Mark Andrews, not because of anything he's done, but I'm very worried about it, how his mental health and health in general is doing with Greg Roman as a coordinator of the Baltimore offense. I was very upset this week. I have Andrews in a couple fantasy leagues. This is ridiculous. Let's just look.
What it means for his confidence too.
Let's just look at Mark Andrews. I'm sorry. Let's look at Lamar Jackson's weapons. Other than Mark Andrews, Duvernay, decent 3.
If that.
Bateman, talented. He's not healthy.
He's a 2.
2. Isaiah Likely, who I like a lot, but was a 6th-round pick.
No, third.
Sorry, 3rd-round pick. He only has 104 yards. He's that dynamic weapon. I get it. You got Andrews over him. I couldn't name you the next receiving corps member of that team. Demarcus Robinson.
They just signed Deshaun Watson. I want the Ravens to make a trade for Jerry
Jackson.
Sorry.
Deshaun Watson is not.
Sorry. I want them to go out and trade for Jerry Jeudy. Guy on a rookie deal.
They're not going to do that.
But they should. That's what I'm saying is, are they trying to sabotage the year with Lamar and not give him weapons? Because that's what it feels like. I don't understand. Look, the Hollywood Brown trade I liked at the time because they got a good lineman for him, but they haven't replaced him. They haven't replaced him in deep threat. So I'm supposed to assume that, talk about retirement home, Deshaun Watson's going to come in there and do that? No.
In the defense has talent. You got Patrick Queen. You got Marcus Williams, Marlon Humphreys, Marcus Peters, Calais Campbell, Kyle Hamilton. I could go on. You can't close games.
Patrick Queen
Can't close games.
Justin Houston.
This team is the focus of Baltimore since the Ravens showed up, since the Ravens became a team, since they were accepted in the late 90s into the league, was what, Ray? It was defense. Defense wins chips, as we've been told growing up, as we watched growing up. Your defense can't do anything in the fourth quarter.
Well, what have I...
You can't. You're non-existent. You're not a factor. You're not relevant. You got Marcus Peters out trying to fight John Harbaugh. Why don't you just give the 2 boxing gloves at this point? Because it's pathetic. This team has to get back to its roots. And I'm really glad they did bring in the 2013 Super Bowl winning team to show them the offense was dynamic that year. But why could the offense be that way? Because of defense.
Let's get this out of the way. That defense in 2012 when they won the Super Bowl is an anomaly because during the regular season, that defense was not good.
It was not good because of the injuries. We have to be honest about it.
They weren't that good, Zorn. Ed Reed was at the end of his rope. Ray Lewis played like a man possessed in the postseason. That's why they got to the Super Bowl.
That's the point. When guys were injured, when guys were out, that defense still held its own. This defense is, fully healthy, except from a couple of bumps and bruises here and there. And you can't do anything. And now you got Dobbins out for 4 to 6 weeks. And Kenyon Drake, you bring him in. His bum ass.
Well, Kenyon Drake looked good against the Giants, but that's what Kenyon Drake does. Look, I talked about this with our buddy Cade. Kenyon Drake has all the talent in the world. The big thing is, and it's obvious, Kenyon Drake has always played scared. He's always played scared. And you know what? If you play scared, you can't play in the NFL. Sorry.
The point I'm making is, when you won a Super Bowl, you said that it wasn't up to par during the regular season because of injuries. But they stuck it out. They fought together. This defense is healthy. This defense struggled with injuries last year, and the defense has struggled with the injuries last year. It looks better than the healthy defense this year. Something's got to change. If you want to get Lamar back and stay in Baltimore, you want this team to win a Super Bowl. Yes, there's holes at receiver. Gus Edwards' health, Dobbins' health. But the defense has no holes health-wise, and they can't win you the games that this team was built on to win. Baltimore has to figure it out now and today if they want to have any sort of competence in the playoffs for this upcoming winter.
I agree with what you're saying. I just want to say, to sum up what you're saying, 4-3 is a good team. The Ravens are a good team. You know what great teams do? They find a way to close out games. So you either win pretty and win big, right? Which is what the Ravens are trying to do. Mm-hmm. Or you either lose ugly like the Ravens do, or you could be the New York Giants or New York Jets and just be scrappy and win ugly. And that's, you know what I mean? That's an identity. The Ravens have an identity problem. That's the issue.
No, they are.
And look, that's not John Harbaugh's fault. The only thing you could say is Mike McDonald, and this is what college coaches do. They think since they have success at the collegiate level, they can come into the professional level and coach the same way. You can't. So the Ravens, they want to be a great team. They need to find a way to win ugly. Well, I think, let's just go into pick'ems. I'm done talking about the Ravens.
I think we both have suffered tremendously. You have enjoyed my suffering. I haven't enjoyed yours because I'm a good friend. Yeah. But I think pick'ems can maybe heal this relationship that we're struggling with right now, right?
All right, Baltimore at Tampa. Who do you got?
Well, Tampa looks like a shell. Baltimore looks like a hot mess. I'm going to go Baltimore.
I'm going to go Tampa Bay. Don't count Tom Brady out. I can't bet against Tom Brady. Denver at Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. I don't. They both have sucked recently.
I don't believe in Russell Wilson, even if he plays. I'm going Jacksonville. Arizona at Minnesota. This should be easy.
Minnesota.
I'm taking Minnesota. Fuck Cliff Kingsbury. Miami at Detroit. That could be a good game.
You know what? For the sake of it, I'm going to go Miami. Detroit, they've had...
Their defense sucks.
Defense sucks.
I'm going to go with Miami. Chicago at Dallas. It's going to pain you to say it. I'm going to take Dallas. Say it.
I got Dallas.
Las Vegas at New Orleans.
Las Vegas at New Orleans. Both these teams are performed this year.
I
got Vegas.
I think Vegas runs them out of the gym.
I got Vegas.
I'm going to go Vegas as well. They're going to run them out. Panthers at Falcons. AFC South Bowl.
And this week of the lowest viewership of all time.
But no, the Falcons are playing well. I'm going to go with the Falcons, dude. Arthur Smith's building something there.
Yeah, I got Falcons. They're playing decent. They're doing stuff.
New England at the New York Jets. I don't know what the hell's going on. The quarterback controversy in New England. I'm going to go with the Jets.
The quarterback controversy is a whole other topic, and we're going to touch on it next week. I believe we should.
Yep.
You know what? New England. I got them. I believe they'll figure it out.
Okay.
They'll solve it.
Pittsburgh at Philly.
Philly.
I'm gonna take Philly too.
I'm Squidward.
Tennessee at Houston. I'm gonna go Tennessee. Best running back in football. Derrick Henry's been a monster lately.
Let's go Tennessee together. I kind of like that.
The New York Giants at the Seattle Seahawks.
I got Seattle. I want to see the Giants lose, get a little 6-2.
This is gonna shock you. So do I. I have the Seattle Seahawks.
John Gino is back.
This is an interesting one. This is my game of the week. San Francisco 49ers at the LA Rams. Battle for NFC West supremacy. Who do you got?
I got the Niners. I really like that McCaffrey trade. I really think that, the Rams aren't the same Rams that we saw last year.
I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Rams. I think it's a bounce-back win this week.
Okay.
Washington Commanders at the Indianapolis Colts.
I don't trust Sam Ellinger's first start with the Colts. Get Commanders.
I do as well. I think that defensive front's going to make his day a living hell. Green Bay Packers at the Buffalo Bills. In Buffalo Sunday night.
I got Buffalo. The best Packers receiving core looks like crap.
No, I got Buffalo, but I have a feeling it's going to be close. Playing in cold weather, it's going to be cold. Rodgers good playing in the cold. I'm going to go Buffalo, but it's going to be close. Cincinnati at Cleveland Monday night.
My game of the week, baby.
How is this a game of the week?
You know why?
It's a rivalry?
Yeah.
You don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen the Browns kind of, just play chaotic recently. I think, Bengals O-line is still questionable. I got the Bengals. I kind of want to see Joe Burrow, shit on the Browns. Really push the season for the Browns out of the window.
After watching how the Bengals offense performed last week, I'd be a damn fool not to take the Cleveland Browns to lose this game big.
Thank you. I was about to yell. I don't want to hear that right now. I don't want to hear that right now.
No, that being said, the offense for the Cincinnati Bengals has just been absurdly good. I mean, the offense has just been clicking on all cylinders. And I think Joe Burrow, being who Joe Burrow is, with the weapons he has, all those receivers having over 90 yards this week, Joe Mixon coming along, starting to run the ball better. The offensive line's playing well. I have to take the Cincinnati Bengals to beat Cleveland. I think it's going to be bad. I don't know why this is your game of the week. I know it's the rivalry, and it's an underrated rivalry, I'll admit, but I think it's going to be a bloodbath on Monday night.
Well, Ohio is almost a pointless state. If you're listening from Ohio, I'm not going to apologize. But the point is, I do like to see a little chippiness, little interstate rivalries. There might be some brawls in the street for like the diehard fans, but that's like 1% of the fan base. But I really want to see Joe Burrow do something.
What's the matter with you?
I like to see him get the 5-3. Really, just watch Ray and his Ravens just suffering from more since he's been enjoying my suffering of what's happened with my Jacksonville Jaguars,
Slowly going the way to
the New York
alcoholism.
Yankees.
I'm hoping the Capitals maybe have a good season.
I had a
That'd be
reason.
nice.
I had the reason to give you a
You
hard time about
want
the
to act
Yankees.
like a victim for everything.
You-
know that?
I'm
tired of the victim mentality.
I have a reason to be upset. I have a reason to be happy at the Yankees losing.
You're sadistic.
I'm sadistic.
Yes.
All the Yankee fans, man. I mean, I've never seen more people be happy about an ALCS appearance from a franchise that has 27 rings. This is not the dark. Yankee fans couldn't last 25 minutes as an Oriole fan.
What the hell?
The Yankees population, the Yankee fan population would decrease by 50% in 30 minutes.
Ray, here's the difference between Baltimore fans and Yankees fans. I'll be very clear on this one. We have standards.
No.
We don't lower our expectations. We don't go for the girl. Oh, she's nice, but the looks are down.
Dude, you could say
we get the hot girl who is nice.
you could say all you want about Oriole fans. Oriole fans showed this year how loyal they are to that team.
They're loyal.
But here, let's be honest though. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. If Yankee fans had 4 seasons like the Orioles had between 2017 and 2020, 2018 and 2021, wouldn't the Yankee fan population decrease by 20% easy?
Or the death rate might go up. I don't know. Apparently,
Am I wrong? Just answer the question because you're going to evade. I saw it in your face. You're going to evade the question. Wouldn't the Yankee fans disappear?
Mayor Adams has not done a good job running that city. Has not done a good job at all. And I just want to say this.
Fair weather Yankee fans. That's why you see Yankee fans in places like Cuba. That's why you see Yankee fans in Illinois. You know why? Because their teams don't win, the Yankees do. Yankees attract fair weather fans. Now, I understand 27 championships, can't deny it. But what I'm saying is Yankee fans act like they are so mistreated, and they're not. They are spoiled brats like any other team that has won consistently. It's absurd to say this is the dark age of the Yankee baseball. It's an absolute joke. Go ahead.
I'm mistreated. I'm a victim after what you did to me when the Yankees lost.
Well, because you were at 2-0, Andrew was still saying, "Oh, they're going to win the series." No, they're not.
No.
Yes, you did.
No. You're going to misquote me. I said they still have a shot to win a series.
No
I don't
shot.
think they will.
And you said, "Oh, what do you mean a shot?" I'm like, they could win a game or two here.
I asked him to give me a percentage, and I go, if they win Game 3, he told me it was a 50-50 shot. You did.
I never said 50.
Oh,
I
that's
said
ridiculous.
game 4, 50-50. Totally different.
Oh, my
you
God.
You got to get your dates right. You got to get the numbers right. Listen, I'm the accountant. I'm the numbers guy.
Yeah.
You're going to question me about my numbers? I don't think so.
That's why I'm going to get a good accountant. Dominveer is going to listen, and he's going to give me.
You're going to pick Dom.
No, I'll
Dom,
pick-
I love you, but you got to pick me.
No,
you got to pick me.
I'll pick you because I love doing the show. But
Dom, don't listen to Ryan. This man's a liar. This man was mistreating me. If it was your New York team, Dom,
you could
he
hear
would be a victim right now, like me.
No, it's because Yankee fans are just insufferable. There are more Yankee fans than Giants fans because they're fair weather fans. Now, let me say this. I am very happy, and Zorn, I think you could at least agree with this when it comes to Aaron Boone and the Yankees. I'm tired of excuses.
I agree.
Because last week you were like, I'm tired of excuses. Well, now you are tired of excuses. Let's be honest. Well, I think that's it, Zorn.
I'm running to class now, man. I'm really in a bad mood. Yeah, I was
Instead of skipping
I was
today.
trying to use this as my therapy to vent, but no, it just made me more mad. That's why I don't do therapy. It doesn't work. It doesn't help. Nothing happens. It just makes me realize there's more problems in my life.
Well, I think we're gonna call this episode, and on Friday we're gonna have a special episode, special guest John Nataliello gonna be on. Jay Nasty gonna be on to talk about some disappointing teams, which the Yankees fall into. We'll find out.
Big Papa John's coming on. Very excited. So some pizza, some wings. Real
Wings,
nice
beer, sports.
Well, no beer for me Friday, but maybe beer for you. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know your plans. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's been a wrap. Thank you for listening to the Sweet Baby Ray Zord Hub Show. Tune in every Wednesday, and then Fridays we have special guests. We'll let you know when the special guests are coming on and what the topics will be. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you soon.